All right, guys, welcome back to EstieBestie podcast, episode number 2. But before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button at the bottom so you get notified every single time there's a new EstieBestie podcast.
I'm ready for summer to be over. I don't know about you. I like my body temperature to stay the same as the temperature outside. I don't want to be hotter. I don't want to be colder. I love fall. I love the seasons changing.
I love pumpkin candles. That's about it.
I love pumpkin
and football
bread.
and stuff like that. No, the vibe is good.
Yeah,
the vibe is good in fall.
Is. And Halloween.
My whole thing with fall is just I know what happens next, and I hate that because I am one of those people that genuinely means. Are we talking about this right now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I am one of those people that genuinely means I would be okay and totally happy for the rest of my life if I never saw another snowflake. Throughout my 23 years, I've seen enough, and I've lived through enough where I'm not missing out on anything. I'm fine with not seeing a snowflake ever again.
Well,
ever.
No, I don't agree. All I want is one big blizzard right in the beginning and then be done. I like a snow day and to be cozy. Then after that, I don't need snow. So.
I'll take a trip to Aspen, Colorado, dip myself in the snow, and then right back to the heated cabin, yeah.
She's not a skier, apparently.
No, I don't do snow sports. Nope. Maybe I'll go on a tube, but that's it.
Tubes are fun.
Tubes, yeah.
Love a good tube.
Live, love, tube. So, Sarah, we're all wondering, how was your trip to Miami? You said you took off your makeup every night.
I did. Oh, me? I was excellent. I'm telling you.
Excellent.
Didn't matter how much I drank the night before. I got in at 6:30 the one morning, and I was like, gotta take my makeup off. It doesn't, stick to it, because it's the worst feeling in the world when you wake up with makeup on your face. I hate it. And I'm all about like brushing my teeth, and I cannot stand when I'm like, and it's like you need to like brush your teeth. I have to say,
tasting that
pat on the back, I did really good.
Crayon from 3 hours
yes.
ago.
Yeah. Well, also, this is so random. This is what I found out in Miami, that chicken noodle soup is a great chaser. I literally made it the caption to my pictures because everyone thought it was so weird. And I'm like, just try it. Nobody would try it. I'm telling you out there, try it. Because we had gone to CVS to get like chasers, and I usually get like some kind of seltzer, some sweet. So I like sweet, and getting like sweet seltzers. And I was like, you know what? They have those like coconut drinks. And I was ooh, that'll be kind of nice, because I'm feeling like tropical now that I'm in Miami, and I get it. And like, I was like, this is not doing anything. I was like, this is really bad. And I had chicken noodle soup just sitting. I'm really weird too. I'll eat anything out of the fridge, room
cold
temperature, anything. Like,
yeah.
I had a can of soup.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Firsthand.
Like straight up like stuffed peppers cold. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will. No, you can explain. I have no shame. I don't think it's weird. Like,
it's not that it's weird. I just can't stand it in my mouth.
Yes.
Cold.
Yeah. Most people can't.
Yeah.
But I had a soup with me because I was like eating soup throughout the day because I don't care if I have a microwave or not. And I'm sitting there and I was like, you know what? I took a shot and then I had the soup right after. The best. I'm telling you, I don't know if it was the soup, but I had no hangover. I'm like, this is the best thing.
It's because chicken noodle soup is high in sodium.
Sodium, yeah. I thought it was the salt.
Salt hydrates you.
My whole thing is like, I'm a wimp. I can't take shots in general. But say if I was taking a baby shot, a half shot. Right. Hypothetically, if I was taking that and I had my little can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup next to me, take the shot real quick. Now I already have the can in my hand because I need something. What if I like swallow like a chicken chunk or something?
Well, I mean, if you're so concerned, you can drain it.
Okay.
But if you swallow a chicken chunk, it's not going to kill you unless you choke on it. So, but I have to say, try it out there. It is the best, honestly.
I'm not opposed.
The best part of my whole trip to Miami was figuring that out. Take a shot. Like, I've never felt so good in my life.
What were you taking shots of?
Vodka. Just not a tequila girl. I can't.
Well, yeah, me either. But like not like a flavored vodka, just straight up. Okay.
To me, flavored vodka is very
high school.
Yes, and also scandally.
It's giving strawberry lemonade Svedka from high school. Yeah. If I saw that, I'd probably disintegrate.
Listen,
into my
not
chair.
like I get anything fancy, but I definitely don't do any colorful bottle of Sveka anymore. So
do they even say
I think I've grown up a little. Yeah.
Because if they do, discontinue it.
No, it was crazy. Okay. Miami, it was like Grey Goose, and
yeah.
I was like, just give me the Tito's. I'm
Everyone
okay
over
with
there
Tito's.
Like, well, you don't like tequila, but like Clase Azul, the one with the
know.
You do if you saw the bottle.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Which my friends got that for my 21st birthday and knew I didn't like tequila. Like, thanks, guys, for the $150 bottle of tequila that you guys are going to be drinking tonight. But I'll ring the bell. That's no problem. That's no problem.
No, Miami.
I still have the bottle, though, because like they even like put a little card that you can like put flowers in it. It's a beautiful vase. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There's something. Miami was fun, though. I have to say, don't ever go to Miami in the summer. I've never experienced anything hotter in my life. I've never sweated so much in my life, and I played sports in high school in the summer, and that says something. I'm like laying there trying to tan, and I'm looking at the woman next to me. She must live in Florida, and she's just like passed out. I'm like, is she dead? Like I'm like, yes. I was like, there's no way. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Miami's a different world.
They are. It's a different breed.
I've been there 3 times, and honestly, like I thought it was like the best place on earth, like every single time.
It's a lot of fun. I'm not knocking Miami.
Yeah, but first off, you can't stay more than like 3 nights max. 4 days, I would say, is good. Yeah. Also, when I went to Puerto Rico in June, that was kind of like my aha moment. I was just like, I don't really ever want to go back to Miami because mixed drinks are $4 over here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that was
and you can't even like get a drink for $20 in Miami. So
yeah.
That was like
Miami. The one shell shock about that was like most clubs you're going to had to cover. So that I'm not used to. And we were going to like the bigger clubs in Miami. So like I only bought one drink the whole time, and it was a shot of vodka, and it cost me like $35. And I was like, not doing that again. I was like, I'll find someone to get me a drink, but I'm not doing that again.
Well, in other words, I'm glad you were consistent with your skincare routine while in Miami.
Yes, and you know what? The chicken noodle soup probably has something to do with it. I was glowing.
A little inspo. Inspo.
Yeah, made me feel good the whole time. Chicken noodle soup and skincare go hand in hand.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I was at Chester, had like a food truck festival, and I tried a lobster roll.
Oh, yeah, they're not.
That's a no from me. Yeah. I actually felt like I was stuck in like a wave in the ocean with my mouth open, and like all I tasted was the ocean.
Descriptive.
Definitely a no for the lobster roll for me. But something I've been enjoying is salmon.
Yeah, salmon's good.
I think I'm a salmon girl.
Salmon's good. That's because I don't know. I am a seafood person, and when I eat like lobster and crab, it's got to be just that boiled with butter.
Okay.
When it's a lobster roll, it's
too much.
Maybe it's the mayonnaise. I don't know. It's just not
Yeah, like.
And it is. You're eating like big chunks of lobster, and lobster's rich. So for me, I'm like, I gotta just like nibble on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So lobster roll was a no for me.
That's okay. You tried
something else. I'm gonna say it wrong because I forget how to say. Is it branzino? Branzino.
She keeps saying it the same way. Wait, my friend the other day, I was telling her because we ordered like Domino's, and I was like, does everyone want marinara? And she was like, Marina. And I was like, Marina? I was like, do you want marinara?
I've never heard of
She couldn't say it. She's like, say it again. I was like, marinara. She's like, Marina. And I was like,
sweetheart, is this your first day in the real world?
Yes. I was like, are you not 22? I was like, marinara. She's like, I was like, why do you keep looking at me like that? I was like, the heck?
My best friend, she doesn't say aloe. She says aloe. And it'll catch me off guard every single time. Because, like, she'll just randomly, is there any aloe? And I'm like, trying to what are you asking for? I'm like, aloe? I've never heard anyone say aloe before.
So uncomfortable. You just want to, like, slap someone across the face and they do that. I'm like, come on. That's like, words. Me and my family talk about this all the time. How to pronounce words the right way and the wrong way.
Root and route?
Yeah, we've never actually discussed that one. Like data. Data's the right way.
I like data.
Yeah.
I like root.
Orange. My family's split on that. I say orange juice. My mom and dad say orange.
It's an O, so I'll say orange.
And then I think, I don't know, don't quote me on that. I can't remember which family sibling it was that. They were like, we didn't say orange. I'm like, oh.
I got one.
Crayon.
That was what I was going to say.
It's crayon.
Wait, say it again?
Crayon.
What?
Crayon.
Oh my God. Crayon? No. I remember like going around in 8th grade, going up to every single person and say crayon or crayon. And like I took this actually seriously because I never heard anyone like say crayon until like my one friend said it. I'm like, it's crayon. There's a Y. There's a break in the word crayon. Crayon. Pass me that crayon.
You grew up different New Jersey than I did.
Crayon. Oh, we're coloring with crayons. Like crayon apple juice. Crayon? No, dude. I'm shocked you're
caramel. I hate that one. Caramel. It's caramel.
Yes, there's an extra A for a reason. Caramel.
Yeah.
Now you're just... Sarah, I'm like, I can't get over that you're a crayon. No, we're going to ignore the crayon. I can't get over you're a crayon girl.
I'm a crayon girl. She's never going to get over it.
I'm not. She already knows I won't probably get over it.
She's going to bring it up. Probably right when we leave. There's other ones that I know that are like... family used to always talk about. I don't know. If you have words out there, you can write in the comments. I want to like debate.
You guys interact with us.
I want to debate.
Let us know. Let us know
how you say things. What words you pronounce? What you think is the right way or the wrong way? And I feel like that's a good interactive. It gets people going. It gets me going because I can't stand when my biggest one is caramel. I'm like, it's not caramel. It's caramel, and that's like, oh, I just had this discussion yesterday.
I'm scared.
It was about Taylor ham. So Taylor ham or pork roll, if you're not an idiot, it's Taylor ham.
That's pork a little harsh. No, I'm kidding.
But that's, I get heated, so I'll say it. Because I've heard the argument that it literally says pork roll on the packaging. Doesn't matter. It's Taylor ham.
Alrighty, guys, now we're going to hop into some skin stuff. So first things first, I think we're going to go over dry skin types first, just because we see a lot of that in the treatment room. And it doesn't help if you're naturally already on the drier side because you, again, have like thinner skin, product absorbs a little bit quickly into the skin, and we still kind of have that like dry, tight feeling of our skin lacking oil, because that really is the difference between dry skin versus like dehydrated skin. I feel like that gets misconstrued a lot, where dry skin is when your skin is lacking oil, where dehydrated skin is when you're lacking water in your skin. And dehydration really isn't like a skin type. Anyone can be dehydrated, so you can be oily and dehydrated, dry and dehydrated, for a lot of different reasons. Dehydration, since that goes with lacking water in the skin, water intake plays a huge role, but also medications that you may be on, weather, again, sleeping in the summertime and you have your AC running all night, that's going to pull moisture and water out of the skin, leave us a little bit dehydrated. But going back on like dry skin, like what Sarah was saying, you're going to need a little extra love for the skin. So you're definitely going to want to look for something that is oil based. So a really thick emollient cream to hydrate the skin, even maybe taking the measure of putting a nice hydrating oil underneath before the moisturizer to kind of really add some extra nourishment in the skin. And then as far as cleansing, being a dry skin, you definitely want to do more of a cream-based cleanser. Anything creamy to add a little moisture when we can is helpful, where gel and foam can be a bit too stripping at the time if we're dealing with dryness.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's more for oily skin. But why you could be feeling dry, we talked about environment, so that could just be one factor. We get this a lot, people washing their face in the shower, so the heat from showers is making you feel like dry and tight. It's stripping, again, your face of those oils. If you're washing your face in the shower, just skip that step till after the shower, wash your face, make sure obviously your water's not hot, and then do the right steps. I also see that people feel really dry and tight when they use cleansers that need a toner, and they just don't know that it needs a toner. So toner's sole purpose is just to balance the pH of your skin. So if you have a cleanser that is not pH balanced, then you need to use a toner. Otherwise, you feel that really like tight feeling. And I know for me, I like right around here is like the worst I get it. Like if I'm not using my toner, which I always am. But before I knew anything about it, like, so I definitely like know what kind of cleansers you're using as well, because that could be a big factor into why your skin's feeling so dry.
For sure. Something I just want to add too with the whole toner situation, toners are definitely, again, to bring your pH back to the level that it needs to be after cleansing. And there's a bunch of different toners, like hydrating toners that are going to add a little bit of hydration. But something I will say, since it's 2022, a lot of cleansers out on the market are pH balanced. So I think that this is more of like a personal thing, finding out if your cleanser already is pH balanced, if it is necessary to have a cleanser. This way, all of your other products following after the cleansing step, everything is accepted into the skin better, because that toner is also going to prep your serums, whatever you're putting on next, for it to, work efficiently in the way it should on the skin surface.
Right.
So definitely want to figure out what cleanser you're using if that's necessary.
The ones that we sell, the Skin Better and Is Clinical, are both pH balanced, so they don't need toners. I know good drugstore like La Roche-Posay, I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
that's pH balanced. That's probably my favorite drugstore, I would say.
It's
not hard too. You just have to Google like, is the one I'm using pH balanced, and then you'll be able to find it out. But I feel like that's a common mistake, because especially if you're buying drugstore, you need to know what you're buying.
Yeah, and just like how Sarah said, coming to see us, a professional, to really examine the skin, because, skin changes over time. You could have been super oily when you were younger, and now all of a sudden it's just like, wow, where did all my natural oil go? My skin definitely feels like drier and tighter, and that's because when we age, our skin, our oil production in general slows down and our skin gets thinner. So, skin can change over time, and, once your skin needs change, the whole products that you're going to be using is going to differ with what is going on in the skin at the moment, for sure. So something else about when we're dealing with dehydration in the skin, usually our skin should have about 30% of water for it to function correctly, have good skin structure going on, and good elasticity in the skin. And that's why once we're dealing with a dehydrated skin type, it's very noticeable off the bat that, we're dealing with a lot of crepiness in the skin, and a lot of times clients are confused, I'm getting all these fine lines and things like that, when in general it really is lacking water in the skin, and everything's now showing, everything's more visible, the skin looks dull, that kind of thing. So again, dehydration definitely can go hand in hand with any kind of skin type, and it's really essential to keep the skin hydrated. This way we don't deal with that kind of dullness.
Just your body hydrated. It's good. Yes. Just stay hydrated.
And a lot of times, everyone jokes about this in the skincare industry, oh, I'm dealing with acne, and somebody says drink lots of water and I'll be saved. Drinking water is great for our entire body. As soon as we take a sip, all of our organs are like, thank you, we wanted this. But I know it's not as easy as it sounds. Staying hydrated is not as easy as it sounds. I talk about it all day with clients, check how their water intake is, and sometimes I get in my car at the end of the night, I'm like, did I even take a sip of water? So we understand, we're human too. Water intake is one of those things a lot of people struggle with, and I feel like those water bottles, those big obnoxious ones that are the time duration
water bottles,
are you here yet, all that kind of stuff, that kind of keeps us on track. So I always recommend, especially if you have an office job, to have one of those waters that are staring at you all day, okay, drink me.
I like to have water bottles that have a straw, because I'm at the desk most of the day, so when I'm able to just mindlessly have it just sit in my mouth and sip, take a sippy sip, when I can have it just to kind of sip on throughout my day, makes it so much easier, because then all of a sudden I'm out of it and I'm oh, I need more water,
time to fill up again.
Kind of have to force yourself, but once you're in a routine, it's not so bad.
For sure. Okay, so with dry skin, you definitely still want to be exfoliating, not as often if you were a combination skin type or an oily skin type. It's still super, super important that we exfoliate and get off all the dead skin on the surface. So definitely not as often. I would say maybe once a week you can use Again, okay, this is like a different conversation, but when it comes to exfoliation, definitely chemical exfoliation is your best friend. I'm really not a huge fan of physical exfoliation. Don't get me wrong, there are some good ones out there, but majority, they're fake beads in there. It's very abrasive. We're making micro tears into the skin, so it's super aggressive. Whereas a chemical exfoliation, whether it's in like a peel liquid form, or one of my favorite forms is more of like a pad that's saturated with, whether it's glycolic, lactic, salicylic, a mixture of all of those, is definitely a less harsh way to exfoliate the skin. But it's so important for dry skin people to get the exfoliation in this way. Their hydrating serums, their hydrating oil, and their nice thick moisturizer can actually penetrate a little bit deeper, and it's not getting blocked by any of the dead skin that we've accumulated on the top of our skin. So again, just like not as frequent, but you definitely still want to be exfoliating the skin.
Yeah. If we're on exfoliation, doesn't matter what skin type you are, don't use St. Ives.
Yeah, don't.
Do not.
And if you have it right now in your... Yeah, I'm calling anyone out right now.
Yeah.
Chuck it, or what I say, like, use it on your back.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, on your legs before you shave.
I mean, you could,
like,
you use it on your legs.
Use it up.
On your underarms, something like that.
Use it up, but then never purchase it again.
Don't put it on your face.
Don't purchase that.
And if you're not going to use it on your body, chuck it. It's not that, like, not to say it's not that much money, but it's not good, so don't keep using it. But I think there's other ones, but that one's, like, the number one I know a lot of people have. Even I don't want to shout out my mom, but my mom did too, and I was like, no, I walked
into my aunt's house and like in her shower is the St. Ives, and I'm just like, yeah, you should know better. Especially, I love it because everyone that I've come across that uses the St. Ives, before you find out about them using the product, they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sensitive.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty dry.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
I wonder
because I know there's
that apricot scrub that's
there's the
apricot,
but also I feel like the green tea one is super deceiving because it's like green tinier little beads, and green tea soothing. And
I didn't even know St. Ives had a green tea one.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, because I think the apricot's the most popular, but even because my mom started to buy because my sister has really sensitive skin, she started to buy the green tea one for her. It's still not good. Yeah, she's like, it's for sensitive.
Gonna tone it down a little bit, but no, absolutely
don't get fooled into the labels. Just because it says it's for sensitive still does not mean it's a good product.
Yeah. You probably feel sensitive and sensitized because you overdid it with the St. Ives. And again, that goes...
And we've all been there. Yeah. When I was like 15, I was overdoing it way too much. Like, you live and you learn.
Moving on to oily skin. Okay.
We both can speak on this.
Yes, we both can speak. And first, I just want to say one fun fact about oily skin, that because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm oily, it's so annoying. Okay, there's a plus side. You have like thicker skin, and it's going to take you longer to age and wrinkle. So let's just start with that. But yeah, oily skin, I feel like the biggest misconception with oily skin is, oh, I already have a bunch of my own oil on my face. I don't have to do much. That is completely wrong. You definitely still need a full routine to keep the skin balanced. And also to growing up being an oily skin type and then starting to use good products, medical grade products, you kind of see that oil take a step back and you're almost like balanced or combo, which, will take over just being fully oily all the time.
Right.
So yeah, that's the whole thing. No matter what skin concern you're dealing with, dry, oily, the whole thing is to have a routine to balance the skin. The whole goal is to balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think too, I always get this. It's so funny. Every time I do a facial and I'm sitting in front of steam, I mean, it's oily by the end of the day when I have facials anyway, but I'm sitting in front of the steam and I'll come out after and all my guests are like, I wish I had skin that glowed like yours. And I'm like, it's not glow, it's oil. Like, I always joke about it, and they always laugh, and they're like, but that's good. And listen, I don't mind my oily skin. I think it's a great do, but I think people also look at it, and that's, like, the trend right now. Because remember in, like, 2016, like, the super matte face, was the look. My oily, dewy face, whatever you want to call it, might not be a trend in, like, a year. So, love the skin you're in. That's your skin. We try our best to get you to have nice dewy skin, and as long as you follow good routine and everything, like you can. But I think definitely, but love your skin because it's your skin.
And nothing happens overnight with skin. So the main focus should always be the health of your skin, because everything's going to follow correctly no matter what treatments you're doing, no matter what at-home products you're using, if the skin is healthy. So again, that's really the baseline of starting anything when you have skin goals. That the skin is actually healthy and able to change, because like how we were talking about last episode about like compromised barriers, if we stayed on track like with somebody that has a compromised barrier and still doing all these treatments, like it's not going to help in the end, because first we have to heal the barrier for everything to actually follow and be the results that we're looking for healthy skin.
Should we go? I think products to recommend for oily skin is good. We talked about this in the dryness. So like opposite of dry, using foaming or gel-like cleansers are the best for oily skin, because you do have like an overproduction of oil. So you not just like strip all of your oil, but it does lessen it a lot more.
Also, even a cleanser, depending on how oily you are and how your skin handles things, but you can even be using a cleanser with like an active ingredient in it. So cleansing complex from Is Clinical. It has some willow bark, which is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid, when you hear that ingredient, that's the acid that's going really deep into the pore to clean out excess dirt, oil, debris that could possibly clog us. My current obsession, Oxygen Wash from Skin Better, has slow release AHAs, so like glycolic and lactic acid. All of these are doing very, very gentle and slight exfoliation on the skin while you're cleansing, and this is kind of just to remove the surface debris and excess oil that's on the surface. So definitely being an oily skin type, even being a combination skin type, to kind of rotate like an active cleanser in at some point, just to do some extra work, because how we said last time in the first podcast, how different people can handle different forms of exfoliation. An oily skin type, you definitely want to be actively using those active ingredients to kind of keep your skin balanced and fresh. Sorry.
For the most part, we won't say everyone, but most oily skin types can handle it. With anything, obviously, always test. So don't take our word for it. If we're like, oh, this cleanser might work for you, might test it out. If it doesn't work for you, then, we always try something else. There's always, again, we talked about this the first podcast too. There's not like one product for all. Like just because someone has really oily acneic skin doesn't mean that this cleanser is going to work the same for them that the same patient who had the same type had. So, but we do like to give like a general, so at least you know where to start. Because if one gel cleanser doesn't work for you, or you don't like the way it feels, doesn't mean you should be going to the cream cleanser, because that's not going to be good either. Just means you have to do a different kind of gel cleanser or foaming.
And then as far as like moisturizers for oily skin, you definitely want to stay away from heavy super emollient creams that are packed with oil. You really want to look for a gel-based moisturizer, a water-based, like a water cream, but it's really more of that gel consistency as soon as you put it on your hand. Like, so when you have like a gel moisturizer, it's one of those things where you see like the little gel in your hand, but as soon as you like rub one time, it should be like gone into the skin, because you don't absorbs really quickly, just because you don't want anything heavy on the top of the skin, especially if you're an oily skin type. Off the bat, you have enlarged pores, so again, that oil sitting on top from that heavy cream, we're just going to get clogged pores, blackheads, breakouts, all that kind of things that we don't want to be dealing with. So definitely lightweight is your best friend, but you still need to be doing a full routine. Nobody's excluded from skincare. Nobody.
And you can overproduce because either you're drying out your skin too much or you're overdoing it. So that's why we recommend that you do like lightweight, because that's not overdoing it. But if you could be making your skin even more oily by doing that.
Because keep in mind too, the oil that's on our face, that's like our skin's protection. That's really what the oil is on our face. So That's why it's never a bad thing to actually have oil on your face. It's normal, and it is like a layer of protection of our skin protecting itself. So Is Clinical has their peel pad system. It's a two-step system. Step 1 contains a little bit of glycolic acid, a little bit of salicylic acid, to exfoliate the skin. Now that combo alone is so powerful. I tell everyone, once you find an exfoliator that contains both an AHA and a BHA, that is like the dream team. That's the dream squad right there. It's good for literally anybody because, again, going back to the salicylic acid, that's the guy that's going to, remove the dirt, debris, the oil, unclog our skin, where glycolic acid stimulates collagen, helps hyperpigmentation over time, so sun damage. So, again, that combo is chef kiss. Wonderful. So step 1 is going to stay on up to 3 minutes if you can handle it. If you can't handle it, please take it off before that 3-minute mark. The first time I used it, and I'm somebody that has played with a lot of acids.
She has strong skin.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I think I may have learned from me, made a mistake. I may have gotten a little bit too close to my eyes, but the whole thing was just like a little spicy to the point where like my eyes were tearing up a little bit. Yeah. So again, avoid this whole orbital area. Something else before I get to pad 2, these pads are huge. They're more like cloth, so please take the opportunity to do,
like, if we had to measure,
it's like big. It's really big. So please, hit your neck with it, chest, décolleté area, back of hands. Use the pad everywhere you can. Again, even if you're like shaving beforehand, hit it on the legs. Do what you need to do. The cloth,
bikini area.
The cloth,
as your waxer, don't put it on your bikini area.
The cloth is really big, so you can hit multiple areas at one time. So after the 3 minutes, if it's still on your face, you are then gonna open step 2. Another little tip is, if it's your first time, open side 1 and 2, because if you need to jump and grab step number 2, at least it's open and it's really quick to kind of just wipe on. But step 2 has a lot of soothing botanicals in it, has some hyaluronic acid, and step 2 is gonna neutralize all of the acids that were on during step 1. So follow up with step 2. You're gonna feel, again, if you've ever received the Fire and Ice facial from Is Clinical, this is like the at-home version of it. You're gonna feel those sensations with the peel pad system. Something I really like to do after step 2, if you have like a nice hydrating mist or a facial spray of any sort, do a nice little spritz and then follow up with your serums and your moisturizer. Also, just like another misconception, talking about like hyaluronic acid, because it's an ingredient in the peel pad. I have a lot of people going back to dry skin, saying, I bought this hyaluronic acid serum and I don't like it. I don't feel like it's doing anything. So, few things about hyaluronic acid. In the past year, it's been so talked about. It really has been like the ingredient of the year in the past year. Its name. Hyaluronic acid was on all the commercials. This blank contains hyaluronic acid. This has hyaluronic acid, whatever. So if hyaluronic acid isn't used in the correct way, it's going to do the exact opposite of what we want it to do. So hyaluronic acid has, the molecule can literally hold itself up to 1,000 times in water weight. So it basically is a moisture magnet. It clings to moisture. So the best way to use a hyaluronic acid serum or product is after cleansing the face. If the face still has some moisture on it, it's not fully patted off and dry yet, you are then going to apply the hyaluronic acid and then follow up with moisturizer, because it needs it needs that little bit of hydration. That's what's going to give you the plump of hydration. It's going to cling to that product, the moisturizer you just put on. And say if you finish cleansing and the skin's already dry, again, that's when a perfect time to go in with that facial spray. Get the skin moist, apply the hyaluronic acid. Even if you want to do like another little spritz before the moisturizer, that will only help. It's not going to hurt. So if hyaluronic acid is applied on dry skin, it will make us drier and it will dehydrate the skin. So definitely want to make sure you're using it in the correct way. And I feel like that's like a big reason why people are like,
I feel like a lot of people don't know that like your skin needs to be a little bit just
it's a moisture magnet.
You don't need to like a splash your whole face, but like about the peel pads too. Because I know a lot of people like to use the physical exfoliation because they're like, I feel it actually working.
Yeah.
The peel pads.
Oh, you feel it.
Oh, you feel it. I put it. I did the same thing when I put it with Cassie. Like, put it probably like right here, like way too close. So I do it the first step while I brush my teeth because I'm like, all right, and when I floss, it's the whole 3 minutes. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm putting it on. It's the first minute, and I was like, man, am I a wimp? I was like, I can't handle this. Like, my eyes are like tearing. I'm like kind of crying. Now I do it the right way. So even when we're professionals, we still mess up.
And regardless, like, now you guys know our little don't go by the orbital. But if you're somebody that doesn't regularly use acids in their routine, you're definitely going to feel it in general. Again, me being somebody who has put a lot of acids on my face, I definitely still felt it the first time. And that really goes with your skin building up a tolerance to acids. And getting used to acids. That's really why we want to like slowly introduce. Now, is clinical, I'm pretty sure if you turn over the back of the peel pad box, it says that you can like work yourself up to daily. I wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. I would say somebody who has built up a tolerance and is oily, maybe 3 times a week, I would say is really.
I would never say daily.
Yeah. Daily is like a little bit too much, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's not comparable in feel in the way that if you tried like the ordinary, the AHA, BHA peel. If you tried that peel, that one's like burning, but.
See,
not in like a horrible way.
When I first tried that one, I didn't feel much. I felt really, a little something.
We have different skin. I'm sensitive more than she is. So when I used it, I'm like, man, this like my face is like burning, and I'm like kind of itchy. Like I want to itch it, but not in a bad way. Definitely, like I do like that product, but this one like feels very cooling. So kind of like the opposite. But if you've used the ordinary, at least like you're used to sensation, at least in the skin. So you'll feel it just like kind of in the opposite. So I feel like if it's a good rule of thumb if you've used that one and you're kind of used to like feeling that kind of sensation on your skin, because it is very intense when you use a scrub. It's not. Doesn't make your skin feel any type of way. If you're
somebody who has never like used it, you're gonna put it on your face and automatically you're gonna be like, is this supposed to be happening? Is like something. How I like to look at it now is if you feel something is working. But again, like, you know, you really want to gauge everything, because whenever you have like an active acid on your face, think of it this way, from a scale of 1 to 10, where it's hitting 10 being the absolute like, get this off of me, like my skin feels like it's melting off. Right. You know, and also a lot of times, especially with the peel from the ordinary, the AHA, BHA one, I kind of feel like after like that 3 to 4 minute mark, it kind of plateaus a little bit. Yeah. So that sensation you were feeling, pads, I feel like. Same sensation you were feeling in the beginning, it kind of like wears off a little bit.
You kind of have to like test yourself.
Yeah. And also too, if you are somebody who has a history of being a little bit more on the sensitive side and you're not used to using acids, do a nice little patch test by your neck area or the inside of your wrist. These are more delicate parts of our body, so we can kind of get a better.
So if your neck's not handling it too well, then don't use it.
Don't bother on your face.
Yeah.
Also,
but yeah, I do agree with that. Well, I wanted to go back and say like the testing, like your limits, because I know like people want to wimp out of, and you're still like, you definitely do. It doesn't have to be the full minutes to at least 3 minutes. I mean, you'll still get an exfoliation. Oh, so I know I sit there and I'm like, I have to get to the full 3 because then I'm not going to get the best results ever. It's not necessarily true.
Yeah, no, if you can handle it for a minute, a good result. You're still getting exfoliated.
If you can make it to the 3, I have to like, sometimes I know she's done like the chemical peel we have on us, and the first time I did it got to, because you can put that on for 3 minutes. It got to a minute, and I was like, take it off. I was like, it hurts. And then she put it on her face. She's like, oh, this is fine.
I could go so like it's just like 5.
Yeah. It was our different skin types, but it definitely does. The second time I did it, I was like, I'm sitting there, and I was like, just push through it. Just push through the feeling, and it went away. It plateaued. It always like. Anything that you're going to, not to say if it's like burning and you got to get it off, then don't keep it on your face because you're like, it'll plateau. That's not what I mean. But if you're like, okay, it's kind of annoying and I kind of want to like itch my face, touch my face, like relieve it, but it's not that bad, then just let it sit there. Like it will start to feel better.
Let it rock out.
Yeah, let it rock out.
Also, just because we're talking about this, PSA, peel season is coming up. Yes. So get ready if you want to.
The seasons are changing.
The seasons are changing.
Which I'm excited about.
Peels, which we have a great peel from Skin Better that contains retinol, glycolic acid, lactic acid. So it's a nice combination for a lot of different skin needs. So yes, peel season's coming up.
We love our peels.
Yes, no downtime for our Skin Better peel.
Yeah,
it's more of just now that we're talking about the Skin Better peel that we have in our office. It's more of like micro shedding, so you're not physically gonna see your skin peeling off your face. This isn't not going
shedding skin or anything.
Multiple layers down where you're actually going to be physically like seeing the skin come off. So you can go to work right after or the next day, you'll be fine. Okay, huge misconception with oily skin. Double cleansing is talked a lot in our industry, which everyone should be double cleansing. A lot of times I feel like people are like, oh, I'm not wearing makeup, I don't need to double cleanse. Well, you have SPF on, so you do need to double cleanse. And yes, I'm confident by saying you have SPF on because you should have SPF on. So yeah, everyone needs to be double cleansing. Now,
even if you're, not to like interrupt you, people who, wear your SPF, but if you don't, and then people are like, well, I don't wear makeup during the day. There's so much dirt in the air. My sister the other day was like, you were so right. She took a cotton pad to her face and wiped it, and it was brown. Yep. She had nothing on her face. So that's just air pollutants.
Yeah, guys, we're in Jersey. Yeah. There's a lot of air pollution, free radicals that we're accumulating throughout the day of just walking outside. So, definitely. And, okay, again, but with the SPF, something I want to say that I tell every single client, so I feel like this is better if I just tell everyone right now, the best thing anyone and everyone can do for your skin is pairing vitamin C and SPF together. Once you are using a stabilized vitamin C in the AM, you're basically in an environmental bubble from free radicals, pollution. So once we combine that with SPF, that's like the true dream team because the vitamin C is like your antioxidant protection, while the SPF, is protecting you from damaging rays, aging rays, as well as burning rays. So that right there, everyone and anyone should be pairing vitamin C and SPF together.
Yeah. So going back to what you were saying double cleansing with the skin.
Okay. Double cleansing. So again, doesn't matter if you didn't have makeup on. It's so important to double cleanse. And a lot of times the first cleanse is using an oil-based cleanser. We always get the question from oily skin types, well, like I'm oily, so should I be using an oil-based cleanser? The answer is yes. Oil-based cleansers are designed to break down oil, so it removes, natural oil from the skin, dirt, debris, makeup. And think about it this way. If the oil is removing the makeup from the skin, that means your foundation, your concealer, anything that's an oil-based product, it's breaking down. So you being an oily skin type, it's 100% safe and recommended that you do use an oil-based
it's
cleanser.
Definitely scary because oily skin, you're like, I'm going to be even more oily. It's not true. If you have
oil
the right
and oil don't mix. Is that the saying?
Oil and water.
Wait, why would
oil and water? Don't listen to anything she says. No, I'm just kidding.
Oil and water.
But as long as you have the right one, I wanted to recommend when we use it in the treatment room, and I love it. I think the smell of it too. It kind of smells like green tea. Is Vitamin Veil, Circadia Vitamin Veil.
Good one.
Love it. I think that and someone who's oily does not make me feel like once she wipes it off with water, I'm like, oh, okay.
Like fresh.
So I think if you have the right one, because I know I delved into, and this is like a whole nother thing, like Korean skincare. I was so into that for a long time. And I mean, it's not bad, but I was using like no-name Korean brands as like my oil cleanser. And I was like, I hate this. It's making me break out more.
Yeah.
So definitely don't shy away from your first step being an oil cleanser. Just make sure to have
a good one.
The right one.
Another good one that I feel like has been like a fan favorite for like over a decade. That's a really good oil cleanser is Pre-Cleanse from Dermalogica. That is a really good oil-based cleanser. Has a little bit of lavender in it, so nighttime kind of gets you in a nice like soothing mood too for bed. Calming. But there's a bunch of different, obviously, skincare products out there. You do definitely need to find one that works for you. Also, now that we're just on like the double cleanse kind of talk, also using a cleansing balm is a good step too. I actually like to, for drier skin types, a balm sometimes is better than an oil because it has a little bit more thickness to it. It's a little bit more emollient, and it'll do the same thing as an oil cleanser, remove dirt. Okay. Last skin type we're going to be talking about today would be sensitive skin. Now, sensitive skin is kind of like a broad spectrum. Sensitivity definitely varies. There's some people that are super sensitive versus others that are maybe sensitive to a certain degree. And there's something we see a lot, I think, in the treatment room. Somebody will think they're sensitive because they're like red to touch, which doesn't necessarily mean, but it could mean that you are super sensitive. Some people automatically, if you just like do a little touch on their face, they have like a red mark. And that can show sensitivity. Sometimes, like, for example, if we're doing like hydrofacial or something, it's not weird to see the red lines of where we were going. Yeah. There's different degrees of red, I feel. Yeah. One's
and I feel like lots of people say they're sensitive, and then we get into the treatment room, and I'm like, you're not even getting
girl,
red.
You're fine.
Yeah. I'm like, you're good. Fine. Don't worry. If I could show you other pictures of people, like, you're okay. Comparatively.
Fitzpatrick scale,
the Fitzpatrick scale, I feel like, has a lot to do with, like, your skin sensitivity, too. Like me, I know me and my sisters, I mean, we're different severities. I'm probably like the least sensitive out of my sisters. And then it goes like the one's real, like she's like medium sensitive. And the other one, she's really sensitive. Like she has eczema and stuff like that. But because like, I feel like we are Irish mostly, that our skin type is like a more sensitive kind of skin type. And I used to think I had pretty resilient skin. And then I met that one and I was like, yeah, my skin's not. My skin's not like that. So I think like too, just because if you're someone, and especially too, that this is like kind of like a side note of sensitivity, because it doesn't have to do with sensitivity, but like pinky tones. Like I think people look at their like rosy faces and they're like, I'm sensitive, and doesn't necessarily mean that, because I like have like a pink undertone too, and I feel like that doesn't necessarily indicate me being sensitive.
No, undertones, again, it could play a role, but I mean, you can be like a super yellow undertone and still be super sensitive to things. You can be more on the neutral side.
I have to like pay attention to your genetics.
I think, again, also too, a lot of times when we get somebody in the treatment room and they're like, oh, I'm a sensitive skin type, that preconceived little tidbit of information that they think they are, that could be from like years ago when they were like younger and playing with like skincare things, like maybe like the grapefruit cleanser from Neutrogena, which is kind of harsh, and that like sensitized somebody, and again, it could have been because of a product that their skin, felt sensitive at a certain time, and now they kind of like steer clear away from a huge routine because of this one time they tried something, so now they stick with what they know.